Rupee has now opened at 90.4, 90.4. This versus Monday's rate. So the rupee gains over 1 rupee against the dollar. So there is a gain, upward gain over 1 rupee. Now we'll just correct the spelling on the screen. But this is after the US trade deal. There is gains on the dollar. After gains on the dollar. So that's a positive. The markets will be opening in the green. That's what everybody believes is going to happen. Payal Mehta, Pallavi Ghosh with us after the Monday close of 91.51 at 90.40 is what the rupee has opened it. Payal, Pallavi with us. Akanksha Swarup will also be joining us. Payal, you will also be tracking as the action shifts into Parliament. There will be a certain level of chest thumping and celebration by the NDA, but also kudos to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for not blinking, for agreeing to certain terms, but not overtly kowtowing and bowing at the whims and fancies of the White House and especially President Donald Trump. Has Bharat been able to hold its own while securing a measured deal? Will that be perhaps the entire perception that will be created?
Anand, the one thing that the world leaders, especially the young leaders, need to understand from Prime Minister Narendra Modi that patience always works. And you have to stand up for what you really stand up for. I remember very clearly when the additional tariffs had, had been brought in by the US, had been slapped on India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came out and took the country into confidence. Told them that if there is a price which has to be paid, I will pay it. I will not let my country be compromised. And then that whole Atmanirbhar Bharat push really came in as well. So today there's going to be a great culmination in terms of double celebration as far as the NDA is concerned. First to do with the EU deal and now with the US deal as well. So the Prime Minister has in fact taken the country into confidence and said that, we don't have to depend on any country like this trying to bully us. We have to, in fact, be self-reliant. And since then, that push has been open. So at 9:30 or 9:35 in the morning, when the Prime Minister walks into this NDA meeting where I'm standing at, he will be given a thunderous applause. I'm also given to understand that LDA floor leaders will also be garlanding the Prime Minister and, in fact, congratulating him for striking the mother of all deals. And, of course, the deal that the whole of Bharat has been waiting for, that is the US trade deal.
True. Yes, it's the mother of all deals with the EU, followed by the US trade deal. Very, very significant. It should open up millions of possibilities and, of course, crores of jobs. 80 lakhs to 1 crore jobs only with the EU deal. The US trade deal, how much does it bring? From 83 billion, Trump has put out a roadmap or a vision to 500 billion. Now, that's going to take some time, but many experts believe that the Bharat-US trade deal has been underutilized. It's not been realized to its full potential. How will this pan out? Akanksha Swarup also with us. Akanksha, big victory. Both sides will be trying to claim that they have been able to negotiate a better deal. But Bharat needs to buckle up now because this also means greater competition. Opening up of a market, creating opportunities also comes with the challenge that you have to rise up to that expectation.
Absolutely. Anand, glad you mentioned the challenges ahead because we are still looking at a very competitive South Asian economy. Smaller countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, they all have been giving us a tough time when it comes to competition in the manufacturing hub of, say, fast fashion or textiles. And even though the heartening part of this is that India has been placed on the lower tariff barrier, especially when we compare to China, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, all of these countries, even Pakistan. So that's, of course, a positive, a big positive. And the other big positive is that just a week ago, we were discussing the mother of all trade deals last Tuesday when India and EU forged that FTA. It's also come with its set of leverage for India. It's perhaps also changed the way Washington was looking at trade with New Delhi. And India already has diversified. We've also secured our own, say, trading options because with EU FTA, we are looking at trading with, say, a 27-member trading bloc. And that perhaps has also made Washington come up with its own set of realizations. India is also now looking towards building its own critical mineral corridor, something that was announced on Sunday during the budget session. And as we speak, Anand, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar is presiding over a critical minerals ministerial meet. He will be having a meet with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. We've also given an import tax reduction when it comes to capital equipment, which India will be gaining from by creating these critical minerals. We need lithium batteries only to counter China, which has been using that as a bargaining chip when it comes to critical minerals.
Absolutely, and that's why Pax Silica, will Bharat be a part of Pax Silica very aggressively? Ashwini Vaishnavji was there when this whole conversation happened. Earlier, Bharat was not part of Pax Silica, but now the Americans have invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi to represent Bharat in Pax Silica, especially when it's the quest of securing rare earth minerals, because these are all going to be the wealth of the future. They are the ones that are going to perhaps power the industries of the future. There is a huge scope of opportunities. The first positive impact of it is the rupee climbing against the dollar, viewers. And the markets have also opened. The markets have opened in the green, up by 2,000 points already. NIFT has also opened up. You can see the numbers on the ground. We'll also try and go across to our network colleagues who track the markets, track the sentiment very, very aggressively from Money Control, from CNBC 18, and also CNBC TV 18, and of course CNBC Awaz. We will try and get across to our colleagues to understand how critical this is. Another part, Sergio Gore comes into Bharat, comes into this region as the ambassador for South Asia, and suddenly the Indo-US trade deal gathers a certain level of momentum. Zaka Jacob spoke with Sergio Gore, and it was an exclusive conversation that he had with CNN News 18. Soon after this trade deal was announced, we'll try and connect with him and try and get more reactions on that. Overall, viewers, one has to understand that the significance of this deal is also because of the delay in signing of this deal. A lot has happened over the last 6 to 8 months. Many believe this deal should have been signed sooner. It's been signed a little later. But Jab jago tab savera. Whenever things happen, it happens for a good and a greater good. Imagine two big deals happening back to back. An EU deal where 28 countries are now going to come on board to try and open up their markets to Bharat, while Bharat opens up its markets to them. There will be so many sectors that will be flush with funds, flush with opportunity. And is Bharat ready to try and have a policy roadmap which ensures that these fund flows that come in are long-term investments and not short-term plug in and get it. Lata Venkatesh is joining us this morning from CNBC. Lata, namaste. This is Anand here. It's happened a little later than sooner, but perhaps big relief. The markets automatically indicating the huge relief or letting go of stress because this deal has now come into fruition.
Absolutely, and I was expecting you to say "Der aaye durust aaye."
Yes.
So clearly, huge gains. Look at the way the index has moved. The stock market index has moved by 1,000 points. The Nifty is above 26,000, and we were lingering between 24,900 and 25,000 overnight. The bigger gain will come for the rupee. Because quite clearly you're going to be able to export more, and you can see that yesterday, the day before, that is on Friday, the rupee was touching 92 and Reserve Bank had to come in and supply dollars.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I think people were smelling that something positive is happening, and the rupee had already gained 0.5%. Today, it has gained almost 1.5%.
Yes.
We are now, you can buy a dollar at 90 rupees 40 paise, what was costing 92. That's what we mean by the rally in the rupee. However, in the rupee itself, the market will watch what the Reserve Bank does. It usually avoids, excessive volatility on both sides.
Yeah.
When the rupee was falling a lot, they were supplying dollars so that it falls slowly. Now when the rupee is rising, they will be buying dollars to ensure that it doesn't become too expensive.
Okay.
Anand, we have to understand when we look at the rupee exchange rate, a strong rupee is not necessarily for the benefit of the economy. A stable rupee is more effective.
Yeah.
For instance, if you compare ourselves with the Chinese renminbi, about a year ago, you could buy one renminbi for 11.5 rupees.
Yeah.
At the height on Friday, it cost 13.5 rupees. What this means is in a global market, when a Chinese shirt and an Indian shirt is sold, our shirt will be cheaper when it costs 13 rupees to buy a renminbi. So some level of depreciation is good. What is important is that it should be stable. A foreign investor coming in wants to see stability. He doesn't want to put in dollars and immediately, the rupee value falls.
Yeah.
He doesn't want that. So that's why the Reserve Bank will not let the rupee shoot too much. The second advantage I see is that, all our companies were geared up for the worst. We don't have the largest economy to sell to in the same way. So, you cut costs, you look actively for new markets. Now you have the best of both worlds. You've grabbed new markets, you've cut your costs, and you have the big mother economy open. So I think we are going to see earnings improvement. We are going to see a stronger rupee. We are going to see stability in the stock markets. You can raise funds in the stock market. All round good.
Yeah, all round good, yes. But Lata, please also explain to our viewers that this deal and also the deal with the EU means that we will have to get far more competitive. We'll have to be agile and nimble, and we will have to focus on quality.
That's right.
Because competition is also going to be fierce. So I'll come to the jobs as question 3, but let's focus on the need not just for quality, but also to become really nimble and competitive. And especially in some key sectors which have been largely protected so far. Sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I completely take your point. We were competitive in several markets. Now, adversity always teaches you to manage with less.
Yeah.
So my sense is that Indian companies in the last 1 year of uncertainty, from Liberation Day down to today, almost exactly to the day it's a year, they've become more nimble. They have been able to manage, to cut costs. And importantly, many people did not sack labor because there was an expectation that by November deal will be signed. Then, the expectations kept coming. They had overbooked orders. Now the chances are you will again overbook export orders because you don't trust the global climate. So you may see earnings grow for textile companies, gems companies, more than, the pre-Liberation Day rates, simply because everyone is agile, cautious, careful. My sense is that we are in for some really good times in a fundamental way. Whether FPIs come now or they still find us expensive or they think we don't have an AI company to trade, all that remains. Those unknowns are still there. We don't still have foreign funds coming in and buying in the way we would like them to buy. But I'm very sure that India has become more competitive.
That was my next question, the fund flows, because Nirmala ji also spoke about that when she was speaking with Rahul Joshi, and she said we have created the entire foundation, everything is in place, all we are awaiting is fund flows. Will this deal, will this thawing of equations between Bharat and US trigger that fund flow?
Simply the thawing may not bring in too much money. What may bring in is if we show it in terms of better earnings.
Yeah.
If they still find that, you will buy an asset, say a machine, at 1,000 rupees, provided every year it gives you 100 rupees of returns.
Correct.
So that returns is important. The company should provide higher earnings growth, and therefore we are waiting for that. My sense is that we should see a higher earnings growth in this quarter and the next. In the last 6 quarters, we were struggling with only single digit, less than 10% earnings growth for a broad swathe of companies. The other factor is that India has suddenly become from a saver country to an investor country. Your dad and my dad probably saved in bank deposits.
Yeah.
Now we save in mutual funds. So in any case, shares have become expensive because 4 crore investors in 2020 have become 14 crore investors in 2025. That much money has gone into the system, makes shares expensive.
Yeah.
And the foreigners have sold out. Shares are expensive if earnings don't grow. If earnings grow, it is worth the money.
Yeah.
We have to ensure that our earnings growth comes back. FPIs coming in will hinge on that. But my sense is, the big selling is over. They won't sell out, is my guess.
One of the sectors that Trump mentioned in his post was dairy. Now, dairy and agriculture, these two sectors largely, and although dairy is seen as part of agriculture, but it's mentioned outside of it too. Opening these sectors, which have been largely protected by the government, what does that signify? Or would you want to see the details saying which sectors still remain protected amongst in agriculture and dairy and which have been opened up? Because there's been this argument that some of these allied sectors in agriculture have long been protected. It's okay to open them up, and that competitiveness will only do it good. Your thoughts there?
No, we have to look at the details here. In the deal with the EU, we protected dairy, and even they protected their agricultural sector. So we did not enter into deals in some of the sectors like agri, because, in both sides, you want to protect vulnerable segments. Certainly in our case. My sense is that we may give in dairy some quota-like, giveaways. We allow dairy products, but within a quota, so that the broad Indian market is not impacted. Dairy and agriculture is too important for us, jobs-wise, politically. So I doubt India will sign off any large swathe. There may be token giveaways, like in the form of a quota. Okay, we take about $250,000 or something like that. So, that is more likely the way things will go. But really, we have to wait for the details.
Right. Final question as you join us, and I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. Jobs. This deal, is it going to create at least 1.5 crore jobs?
See, the deal has saved job losses. It's not that because of the deal, new jobs are created. We were very worried that Tirupur will see, job losses, that Surat will see diamond jobs losses, that leather companies in the south, which are big exporters to the US, could see layoffs. Now we have saved those losses, but we have new markets in the EU. We have also worked very hard to become competitive. So in that sense, there will be a secular growth in jobs. But simply because of the deal, will more hiring happen? No. I will believe more hiring will happen because of what was announced on February 1st. Those data centers and the concessions given to GCCs.
Yeah.
Now they will not be tortured with any tax guys opening their books. They just have to pay 15.5% as transfer pricing fees. And, that makes life very easy for GCCs. GCCs are, employed a big way.
Yes.
I see jobs definitely increasing, not necessarily because of the USD.
Well, overall, a very buoyant and upwardly mobile opening to Tuesday. That means it's a Mangal opening, if we may say that. Lata Venkatesh, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for your time, and we'll try and look forward to you joining us through the course of the day again. Thank you, Lata.